Hello all, welcome to Insights IS, a new initiative MARGHADARSHAN, that is PSIR through PYQs. Myself Nikhil Gowda, the Insights IS Political Science and IR faculty. So today is day 5 and we have taken up two previous year questions. So the two previous year question what I have chosen or which had already posted, one was on J.S. Mill, the other was on Hobbes. So let's look into the question, the first question. So the first question says that the legal subordination of one sex by the another is wrong in itself and now one of the chief hindrances to human development. So friends, now let us look into what should be the introduction in this particular question. So here, since the question is of a quote on J.S. Mill, let me introduce J.S. Mill. So I can say J.S. Mill is the British political philosopher who has written important works such as On Liberty, and also the other important essay what he has written is Subjection of Women. Has been one of the scholars who has been at forefront demanding for gender equality. Since the question is more about gender equality and Mill might have spoken about many aspects, but my focus will be on what? Addressing the aspect of gender equality, because the whole statement speaks about gender equality. Now second, if we come into here, if we look into what is the demand of the question. To understand the demand of the question, let's go back and see here what is the statement. Legal subordination of one sex to the another is wrong in itself. So this is the first part. So we need to bring arguments saying that why J.S. Mill is arguing that legal subordination of the female sex by the male sex is wrong in itself, and then second aspect is that how it is a chief hindrance to human development. So the demand of the question requires me to bring arguments of J.S. Mill saying that why legal inequality between man and woman is wrong. Second one, how it hinders overall human development. So these are the two aspects needs to be addressed in your answer. So one thing what you can do here is that to address the first part, legal inequality, here you can speak about Mill has spoken about the legal inequality in his essay. So what was the name of the essay? What is it? Subjection of Women. That women in Britain at that point of time, after they are married in that regard, they lose their rights over property. They did not have voting rights. And they were equivalent to slaves of their husbands. And this Mill said is naturally wrong. Why he said it is naturally wrong? Because Mill believed that women had equal capacity as men. Mill also argued that women have also shown exceptional qualities. For example, many of them who were school mistress had more knowledge than any of the other male voters who had, and many women had also had led successful businesses back then in England. Hence he said naturally women were equivalent to men. So he said that is why the first part of the question, what is that? That why it is wrong in itself. Hence Mill believed that if women given an opportunity in that regard, they would be able to perform well. So hence he said women have to be given voting rights and also political representation. Second part, you can say that if women are not empowered, if there is no legal equality, it hinders human development. Why it hinders human development? For example, you can say women are also seen as the first teachers in homes. Women also are very key aspect in that regard because they form half of the human population. When we speak about human development, we cannot speak human development is only man development. Human development should also include women development. So in this regard, we can say one of the most successful countries in the world, or those countries which rank high on HDI, such as Finland, Norway, Sweden, we can say in these kind of societies, the women have enjoyed equal legal rights, and in these societies, women empowerment has led to what? Increased economic growth. It has also led to increased women participation in politics, and increased women participation in politics has also, what you can say, has brought new dimension to policy making. Hence in this regard, we can say views of J.S. Mill holds good even today. So in the conclusion part, you can say what Mill made the argument in his book or in his essay Subjection of Women led to the suffrage movement in Europe. It led to demand for equal legal representation of men and women. But the irony is that even almost 3 decades or 2 decades after this argument, still the world is in want of gender equality. That you can write as a powerful conclusion in your answer. So friends, that's why I said it's very important for us to understand the demand of the question, and always don't try to write whatever is there in the book. Try to mold your points according to what you have read and try to freely think and answer. So what happens that when you only limit your points to what you have read in a book, your answer won't be organic. I hope this has helped you. Now let's move on to the second question of the day. So the second question of the day is on Hobbes. So let us see what is the question. Hobbes' notion of political obligation, and they're asking you to comment 10 marks, 150 words. So friends, now when it comes to introduction, now one difficulty what many people like, how to introduce, what to introduce. Here instead of, I would recommend instead of writing about Hobbes, write about more about political obligation. First you can say, or you can explain what is political obligation. So political obligation is where on what basis the state can get the legitimacy of the people or the acceptance of the people. So you now that is the meaning of political obligation, and political obligation has been central to political science since the times of the ancient Greek society. So then you can come to now about Hobbes. So you can say, now let us think what is the demand of the question. So the demand of the question, it is not about any idea, you have to write about Hobbes' notion of political obligation. So here the demand of the question is that you need to say what was Hobbes' notion of political obligation. That is the most important part. Then you have to, like how you structure your answer, first you will write about what is the Hobbes' notion of political obligation, then they are asking you to comment on it. Comment on it means you can also reflect your views. Is there any limitations in his notion of political obligation? So when he said what was Hobbes' notion of political obligation, Hobbes, you can say, started as an individualist but he ended as an absolutist because he felt that an individual has to obey the state. Why he has to obey the state? Because he has to come out of the state of nature, and for him state of nature was a state of security dilemma. And for him in state of nature, the natural law does not play any role, which he refers it as what? Covenant without swords are nothing but words. Swords are nothing but words. So Hobbes says that in order to what you can say, safeguard life, liberty, etc., an individual has to sacrifice his natural rights and he has to obey the state because he has signed a social contract. So legally also he is bound to obey the state. Then you write your antithesis that some has criticized Hobbes' notion of political obligation because he is sacrificing the individual rights at the altar of the state. And some would argue that Hobbes started as an individualist but he ended as an absolutist. But however, we can say Hobbes has laid down the, what you can say, a new idea of political obligation where he's denounced the divine theory of rights. Means what? Hobbes has rejected the idea that the king or the queen is bound to rule because they have been ordained by God to rule, but he says that the foundation of his rule is the social contract. So this should have been the structure of your answer. So friends, that's why I said always focus on the keywords in the question. If you clearly articulate your viewpoint on your answer paper, you will definitely get higher marks. But if you just write in a very jumbled way, we are not able to mold the points what you have read according to the demand of the question, that is when problems are bound to occur. So I hope with these two questions today you got an idea about how to approach these two questions. So again I'll meet tomorrow with set of 2 new questions. I have already uploaded on the Telegram channel also what is the schedule of the questions. So if you want tomorrow again I'll post here what is the schedule of the questions, how it will be posted on which topics, so that you can be prepared to write answers. But please remember, write answers every day. If you just dream, that is not enough. Like you can say in the quota factory what they say, you have to aim, because aims can be achieved. With this I'll end today's session. I'll meet you again tomorrow. Till then, take care.